This is the fairy tale you think you know. In the first written version, the queen who wants Snow White dead is not her stepmother. She is her mother. The Brothers Grimm printed it that way in 1812, and what she does next is worse. You know the soft version: a jealous stepmother, a magic mirror, 7 dwarfs, a poisoned apple, and a kiss that fixes everything. That version is the last coat of paint. Underneath sit 2 centuries of edits, and a story that was never meant to be gentle. Here is the book, Children's and Household Tales. Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm published its first edition in December 1812. It was not written for children. The queen asks her looking-glass one question every day. The day it answers with her daughter's name, something in her curdles. Snow White is 7 years old when the mirror changes its answer. Envy, the text says, grew in the queen's heart like a weed. She summons a huntsman with an order no film ever kept: take the child into the forest, and bring back proof that she is dead. The proof she demands is precise: the girl's lungs and liver, brought home as a token. The huntsman cannot do it. He kills a young boar instead. Snow White runs. The text counts the dangers politely: sharp stones, thorns, wild beasts that do her no harm, and keeps moving. Back at the castle, the cook boils the boar's organs in salt water. The queen eats them, believing they are her daughters. The Grimms kept this line for 45 years. 7 dwarfs find her asleep across their beds. In the Grimm's text they have no names at all. The names arrived with Hollywood in 1937. Their bargain is domestic: keep our house, cook, sew, knit, and open the door to no one. She forgets that rule 3 times. Visit 1, a peddler woman laces her bodice so tight she falls as if dead. Visit 2, a poisoned comb. The dwarfs revive her twice. Visit 3 is the apple, poisoned on one side only. The queen eats the white half to prove it safe. Snow White bites the red. This time the dwarfs cannot wake her, and cannot bury her either. They build a coffin of glass on the mountainside, and years pass. Now the ending nobody filmed. No kiss. In 1812, a servant carrying the coffin loses his temper and strikes the sleeping girl, and the apple flies from her throat. Then the tale itself began changing. The Grimms revised their collection for 45 years, and Snow White softened a little with every pass. Edit 1, 1819, the mother becomes a stepmother, and the queen's death sentence gains an accident's shape. Some darkness was moved outside the family. Edit 2, the furious servant vanishes. From 1819 the coffin merely jolts against a bush, an accident polite enough for the nursery shelf. The editors were not villains. Jacob and Wilhelm were scholars racing to save a spoken world, collected mostly from educated friends, not peasant grandmothers. And one thing never softened. In every edition the Grimms printed, the queen comes to the wedding, and dances to her death in red-hot iron shoes. Now for the myth about the myth. You may have read that the real Snow White has been found. Twice, in fact. Candidate 1, Margaretha von Waldeck, a countess dead at 21, from a copper town whose stunted child minors were called dwarfs. Candidate 2, Maria Sophia von Erthel, from Lorem, Maine, a glass-making town whose famous mirrors were advertised as always speaking true. It makes a lovely pilgrimage brochure. It is not history. Folklorists reject both candidates, the dates fail, and every motif appears in older tales. Because stories like this are old beyond books. Statistical dating puts some fairy tales at 4,000 years, older than the alphabets that finally trapped them. And why so dark? Because the teller's world was. Stepmothers were common because mothers died young. Famine made the forest a real place to lose a child. So the version you grew up with is real. So is the one underneath. Every era, it seems, gets the Snow White it can bear. Next, the original Little Mermaid, no wedding, a knife in her hand, and an ending Anderson refused to soften. Subscribe for the versions underneath.